Welcome to the podcast. My name is Michelle Sinclair, divine healer and spiritual teacher. Today we are going to start off with a story. So I knew this woman who had her hand cut off. So she only had one hand. And sometimes she would get a really itchy hand, even though she did not actually have her hand. And so she would use her other hand and she would sometimes just scratch that area and find relief. But why am I telling you this? Because we are not our bodies, but we are the energy that sustains them. So when I knew her, she had not had her hand for, I think, about 20 years, maybe even longer at that point. And it was still an issue for her. Okay, so next story. So I read this in a book. It was a super great book, and I wish I could remember what it was. I do not know why I can't find it again. But there, in the start of it, they showed a picture. So you know how you can get these cameras that can see through walls? Let's say you got some pipes or you got something going on behind your wall and you need to be able to see back there. There's cameras that are like infrared and they can see what is behind a wall. And so was a picture, and it was a picture of a plant. Take a picture of the plant, and then they ripped a leaf off, and then they took a picture of the plant again, and the leaf was still present even though it had been ripped off. We are not our bodies, but we are the energy that sustains them. Why does this matter? Because our energy is based on our frequency, which is based on our belief system, on our thoughts, what we think about continually, right? Because we think about the things that we believe in over and over and over and over and over, and they dictate and determine and create our lives, plain and simple. So when we have repeated, let's say we got a thought loop going on, when we have continual thoughts and they are low frequency energy, they are depleting our energy from our body, and we need it. We need that energy. So when this is a repeated thought, let's say that you have to work with somebody and that person is super frustrating or super annoying or whatever it happens to be, whatever the thing you got, whatever it is, or maybe not, you're not working with them, maybe you're just dealing with someone in your life. Okay, but I'm using the example of work because you spend so much time there. So let's say you have to work with this person and they're just really irritating to you. What percent of your energy are you wasting using your thoughts, your thinking, your mind on that person? And every time that you do it, it is emitting low frequency energy, meaning it is depleting, because this is not your natural body's state. Your body's natural state is one of perfect divine love, which is why when you are in divine alignment, then your body creates this healing within it. And when you are not, all your body is trying to do is it's working with the energy that underlies your body, and it is trying to bring your awareness to something that needs to be addressed. So sometimes also you could use this for an example of if you were really tired all the time, maybe you don't have some kind of physical ailment, but you're just exhausted, you're just tired. How much low frequency thought energy are you wasting throughout a day? Right? We've talked about this before. So just imagine this. You only have a watermelon worth of energy every day. So just this make believe, but it's true. You have this watermelon worth of energy every day. What percent of that watermelon that you got in front of you are you spending on low frequency thoughts, words, or actions? What percent are you spending on high? So here's how you'll know. How many of your thoughts are loving and good and positive and happy and joyful and filled with harmony, unity, laughter, positivity, and what percent of them are filled with negativity? So the ones that are filled with the negativity, this is low frequency energy, and your body does not operate optimally on low frequency energy. And so what is going to happen is, let's say that you're spending, 90% of your day in this low frequency negative energy. What's going to happen to all your energy? Well, you're wasting it. You're just wasting it. It's being depleted. It's being pulled out from your body, from your body parts, and it's going to create problems for you. Physical problems for you, energetic problems for you. You're going to feel depleted, and some people. So if somebody's depressed, what are they doing? They're like, oh, I can't even get out of bed. I sleep all the time, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because they have low energy. Why? Because they're wasting it. They are spending all of their waking time thinking those low frequency thoughts, and they don't realize that they're choosing it, that they have to just make a decision to not do that anymore. And then all of a sudden their energy is going to be completely restored to them. But it's a choice. You have to make a decision. I can't force anybody to do anything. I can tell people, I can tell you, hey, this is going on. I can bring it to your awareness, and through your awareness, you might be like, oh, I should probably do something about that. Or not. You can choose. You can decide. You get free will. So, because we're not our bodies and we're the energy that sustains them, the thing that we need to heal is the energy, not the body. Not the body. So, if you were curious, if you were wondering why, you're feeling a certain way, or you got some kind of sore body part, or you got a hurt or a pain, well, first of all, you could look it up. There's a couple different books that are just amazing. There's one by Michael Lincoln called Messages from the Body. There's one by Anna Segal called The Secret Language of Your Body. There's another one by, what's her face? I can't think of it now. I used to have it. On me all the time. Anyways, those are my top two, because the other one I was going to mention is not nearly as in depth. The other ones have so many more options in them, but it can bring to your awareness what's going on. But what happens when, let's say, the body does break down? What do? And almost all of us, we just naturally do this, right? We start to send even more negativity to that body part, like, oh, my stinking this body part, or oh, this thing, or we shame that part of our body. We don't thank it for being sick or unhealthy or sore or in pain. We don't do that. We add more of that low frequency energy to it, right? This is just like a natural reaction. This is the things that we do. But what is happening is we're compounding it. We're increasing it. We're making it even worse. Because the only reason that your body is breaking down in the first place is because it loves you so very much, and it wants to bring your awareness and your attention to something that you haven't been dealing with, that you must and need to deal with. Because your energy will decide at some point, hey dude, this thing, sorry. Hope that wasn't too loud. It will decide, hey, dude, there's something you need to do about this. Because up until the point that your body began to display some type of, ailment or whatever it happened to be, you were cool, you were fine. And then it got to the point where your energy was like, man, this isn't sustainable anymore. I can't keep doing this. We need to resolve this. And then the energy, the body, that's sustained by the energy, breaks down because it is such low frequency that it can't maintain its normal state of perfect health. And so all it is trying to do is love you and tell you, hey, you got this thing that needs to be resolved. You got this thing that's been going on for too long. Some people, they'll have illnesses, sicknesses for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And then what happens? Because I bet that you know those people. They talk about it all the time. They'll talk about their pain, my pain. They'll even label it. Oh, it's mine. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And they'll talk about it because it is all consuming. Because it is all consuming. And taking that low frequency energy, because talking about sickness, talking about illness, this is very low frequency energy, very low. And so they are compounding it even more, but they are doing this because they are unaware. And so bringing the awareness of, hey, this is the thing, this is what brings the healing. So let me give you another story. So when I was in Sedona, I arrived there, and I think it was the very next day or the day after that altitude sickness symptoms started showing up, which was interesting because I had experienced this the previous summer when I went to Colorado, and was like, what the heck is going on? Like, I have this really weird, very specific headache, and my eyes are running. And I'm like, oh, so, this is altitude sickness. And I didn't realize that was a thing in Sedona. And so anyways, I'm with my friend who is almost exact, she's just like me. And so I was like, hey dude, I have this headache and my eyes are running. And I was like, what's the altitude here? Because this feels the same as, when I was in Colorado. And she was like, oh yeah, this and that, but that's not what it's from. We need to look it up in the book. And I was like, what? Altitude sickness is in the book? This is amazing. She had a different book than I did. So we look it up. because we know that there's nothing that is real and that everything is just energetic, all of it. But I'm like, this is weird that this is coming up, when I was at an altitude before, and then when I'm at an altitude this time, and I'm thinking in my head, maybe I'm the exception, and maybe this is altitude sickness, like for real. But of course I know that that's also not true, because I know. And so we look it up. What was it? There was two things that it was, but I only remember one. And one was feeling as though you needed to lift up, people like in your family, or that you needed to be the one that was the spiritual uplifter in your family, that you're the one doing this because others aren't able to. And was like, bingo, bango, that's the thing. And it makes sense that would come up because I had been with family when I was in Colorado the summer before. However, my family wasn't there, but I also felt like, okay, I'm the spiritual uplifter. I'm the one who, has to maintain this. And what I was seeing, like a car jack, when a car is like way jacked up in the air, I was seeing myself like holding whatever this was, standing up, pushing up, holding up the spiritual upliftment. This was the vision that came to me as soon as I read that in the book. So what happened, just by reading this, it came into my awareness, and then my symptoms went away and I didn't have it anymore. So our body is just trying to point things out to us, but then when we add on that compounded, oh, my headache, oh, my this, and we're in the, which is totally natural and normal, we're freaking humans. But when we add that in, we are compounding it, and we are keeping that low frequency energy low. When what we need to be doing is saying, thank you for the headache that you gave me, thank you for my eyes running, thank you for bringing this awareness to me that there is something that I need to address, or some type of belief that I need to let go of. And through that awareness, which is your body, your energy just pushing you towards love. It is pushing you towards loving yourself more. It is pushing you towards loving the world more. It is always pushing you towards more love anytime that it is causing you harm in any way. Maybe it is telling you, hey, you need to get out of this situation. Maybe it is telling you, hey, you need to stop thinking about this thing. Maybe it is telling you, hey, you hate your job. You can't keep doing that job. It is depleting every little tiny bit and ounce of energy that you have within you. You need to get out. Maybe it's telling you something completely different. I don't know what it's telling you, because you're a different person than me. We're all just humans, and there's literally millions or billions of possibilities of what it could be. But how you figure this out, because it's always that. And it does not matter if you fell. It does not matter if you slammed your finger in the door. It does not matter what the thing was that harmed your body. It does not matter. Everything in this world is the spirit. And so there is nowhere that the spirit is not. And so if you were injured and you're like, well, no, this is because I was injured at this time from this and I'm still recouping from that. No, that is not what it is. Everything is the spirit, and what it is your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit. It's trying to tell you something. And what it is trying to tell you is to push you towards more divine love. Now, the beliefs that we have under our body, that we have within us, is what we are witness to. It's what we experience in our life. It's all the beliefs that we're running off of, right? So here's the example. Let's say that you believe that you're unworthy. Well, then things are going to happen in your life that are going to prove this to you over and over and over and over again. Whereas if you believe that you are worthy, then the things that are going to happen to you in your life are going to prove that to you over and over and over again. It's just the beliefs that we have. So let's believe that we can't trust, we believe that we can't trust in love. Well, what is going to happen? We're going to get into something, and that's going to be proven to us. Whether it's true or not, it does not matter. It will become true to us because we believe in it. So I know I've told you guys this before, but this is a really good example of this. So let's say that you believe that you are not good enough, and you are in high school. And so there's a group of people, they're standing around, they're standing in kind of a circle, they're talking. One of them looks over at you, and then they look back and they continue to talk in the group. What's the immediate thought that you have? When you're on the outside looking in, you think, oh, if you believe that you're not worthy or good enough, you're thinking, oh, they're talking about me, oh, I'm left out, I'm not part of that group. And you would go on and on and on and on and on and on and on in your thoughts in your mind, proving the belief that you have proving it to yourself, right? But let's say that you believe that you are worthy and that you're good enough, and there's a group of people, exact same scenario. They're standing there, they're talking, and one of them looks over at you, and then they look back at the group. You're like, I bet that they just, want me to come over there and join them, or whatever it is that you think. It is the opposite, because everything is based on the belief system that you have underneath you, and that is what you're proving to yourself over and over and over again, because most of your life, you live in your mind, you live in your head. You could be laying next to somebody, you could be having a conversation, but then you're also having a conversation with yourself in your own head. And so it needs to be a good place to be. And if there's beliefs that are in there that are harming you, then they are not in divine alignment. I promise you this, 100% guarantee you this, that if you are believing something that is harmful to you, it is because it is not in divine alignment. And when you get into 100% divine alignment, then the beliefs and the thoughts that you have, they're not going to harm you anymore, but you have to choose. You have to make a decision. You have to choose this for yourself. So, because we're not our bodies, and we are the energy that sustains them, it is important to understand how this energy works and how it assembles in your body. So if you were to lay at night, this would be like a really good exercise that you could do. I want you to just imagine, just pretend, because it will get your mind used to the idea of this truth and love, this divine alignment. I want you to pretend that you have cleared away all of the fear, because fear is the low frequency energy that causes so much harm on this planet, right? When people fear that they're not going to have enough, then they hoard and they take it away from other people. When people fear that they're going to be harmed, sometimes they want to harm first so that they're protecting themselves. There's all kinds of low vibrational things that come from the energy and the thought of choosing fear. You have free will, so you are choosing it. You're choosing it. I don't care what happened in the past. That was in the past. And if you're choosing to continue to believe in it now, it's going to be harmful to you. The Bible says do not fear, and it says it 365 times, one for every single day of the year. I think it's a pretty important thing to do, to not fear, and to instead, where fear was, replace it with love every single time. Replace it with love. We're creating an era of peace and love. We're creating heaven here on earth, and it is our every loving thought that is a transforming influence on this planet. So think about that thing that you've been living in fear about, and just notice what that feels like in your body. And notice how it disrupts the energy in your body. And eventually, if you were to keep thinking that fearful thought, it would deplete that part of your energy where you're feeling that fear and that stress. And it would develop an ailment, because your body cannot sustain low frequency energy. That's not how it's meant to operate. And so what happens when you then replace it? Replace it with the highest divine alignment possible, with something that is loving. What would it be like if you were living in heaven and that thing that you wanted, whatever it happened to be, was already yours? What does that feel like? That love that is there. This is the perfecting process of believing in it and removing the doubt. Now, when I went up to my cabin and I gained this enlightenment, let me tell you about this, because it came from the hardest, the most suffering I've ever experienced in my life. Now, I was married, had 4 kids, and at that time, I've been doing what I do for 10 years. I was doing hypnotherapy, so I had that gig on the side, but I have 4 kids and I'm homeschooling and I'm staying at home, and this has been 20 years that I've been the stay-at-home mom. And I was in love with my husband. Like, I honestly thought he was my best friend. I considered him my best friend. He was hilarious. He was fun to hang out with. And all of the things that were negative, I was completely blind to. I just ignored them. And so when I found out that he had betrayed me over and over and lied and all of these things, I was so destroyed. I had been a drug addict and an alcoholic when I was younger. I had gone through many hard things. I had been with an abusive boyfriend. I mean, I was pregnant at 15, had a baby at 16. I had been through some things, but nothing even caused me a moment of suffering until that happened. And the life as I knew it was over, and I was devastated. I just wanted to end it. I just wanted to end my life. I was like, my life that I loved, that I thought I loved, was completely, I did love it, was completely over. And so I was destroyed by this. And it was through that great suffering that I knew I had to find a way out of it. I could not suffer for one moment longer. And I was so angry with him, and I knew I needed to forgive him. And I knew about frequency and vibration, and I had been studying the Christ letters, and I knew I can't harbor this because it will be returned back to me. And I remember just laying there and just crying, literally feeling like I was drowning day after day after day, and thinking, I just have to get out of this. How am I stuck in this? But I couldn't think or get my way out of it. It was just a process that I had to go through. And so I got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to leave, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And I knew I needed to forgive, because I did not want to keep putting out those spiteful, hateful energies towards him, because I knew they would be returned back to me karmically. I didn't want this. So I go up to my cabin, and I am desperate, just desperate for relief. And I knew I would find it. I knew I would find it. This is why I went. And when I left, and he didn't ever want me to go anywhere or do anything, he wanted me at home all the time. But at this point, I didn't care anymore. So I was like, I'm leaving, and I'm coming back when I come back. And I was gone for 3 weeks. And he had to hold down the fort while I was gone. And I needed that time, and it was not very long into it that the enlightenment came. And all of the doubtful energies that I had had were completely removed. Now, I knew from previous things in my life that the divine loved me so much, and when I would be a little kid, I would pray for things, and it would just happen. Like, oh, we need the wind to stop. Oh, let's pray. Okay, the wind just stopped. And I understand now how these things happened, and it was my belief. It was because I had been told, where 2 or more of you come together in my name, there I'm with you, and that's that, end of story. So if we pray for something, of course it's going to happen. My friends that were with me, they were doubtful when I said, well, all we need to do is, pray and stop the wind. And they were like, okay, but they, placated me and did it. And as soon as I prayed, bam, immediately in that second, it stopped. And at that time, I was like, okay, well, I actually didn't really think too much of it, but I just felt like I was special, right? I have this gift. The divine loves me so much, but what that gift was faith. That's it. That's the only thing that it was faith. And I recognize that and see that now. I mean, it took me 30-some years, 20-some years to figure that out, but I figured it out. Oh, why did these things happen? Because when I would pray, I would expect it, because I believed that the divine loved me so much that of course you're going to deliver this thing that I asked for, that we feel like we need here in this moment. Of course. And so when I went up to the cabin, and I have now forgiven him. This was it. This was forgiving. And then over the next several days, gaining this light, this enlightenment, this understanding, and I understood. And I'm going to flash forward to about a year later, when I went back up to the cabin for several weeks. And at one point I felt myself particle out, so much so that it actually made me afraid, and I called myself back to myself because I thought I was going to die right there. I was like, how could I be expanding so much so into the light? I was becoming the light. I was expanding out, that I was like, oh, I feel like this is what happened to Jesus when he was on the cross, and he just kept expanding out, and then he left his body. And so I called myself back to myself, and now, I don't have many regrets. I don't have any regrets in life. But that one, I'm like, dang it, it taught me that next time I'm not calling myself back to myself, because certainly I wouldn't have died. I don't know what would have happened, but I'm going to find out next time. That's all I know about that. But it was going up there and realizing and understanding that every single thing is divine love, even what he had done to me, right? So that you could take the most horrid, negative, hard thing that you've ever gone through, And as soon as you flip it around and you perceive it more honestly that it was a gift for you, indeed, that box of darkness was a gift for you, then it changes everything. Because you are now putting out the frequency of thankfulness and the frequency of love. And that will then be returned back to you, because this is how it works. So I also take another situation where there was, grievous heartbreak that I was going through. And through that distraction in my life, I learned and gained so many things. And it helped me to step into my power, and it helped me to gain mastery. This is what we're all working towards. Once we've gained this enlightenment, well, what do we got to do? We got to master ourselves and our mind. Because it's all great and gravy when you're up in the woods and you've got no other people to deal with, and your cell phone doesn't work, and you don't got the things, and you're just there by yourself. It's just you and the divine. Good and gravy. Nobody's going to bring their energies and introduce them into you and throw you off. However, then you get back to the real world, and you got real people who believe that they got real problems, and they talk about them, and they got them in their frequency, and they got them in their energy, and it disrupts your energy, and it can be hard to maintain that, which is where the mastery comes from. So even continuing on, when I think about what happened to me that led me to that enlightenment in the past, like the grievous suffering that then got me to that point, and I think, that person who caused this in me, I love them even more because of it. They did support me for years and years and years, and I was happy during it. And then I think, okay, that grievous suffering led to the best, most wonderful gift, enlightenment. What a beautiful thing. So I love you for that suffering that was caused. And then I think even continuing forward even more now they are helping me, pushing me, making me stronger, and leading me towards more mastery. Because I can see, in certain messages and this or that, they are looking for some type of they're fishing for it, they're begging for it, some low frequency response, and they're never going to get it. And it just makes me laugh because I see so clearly through what it is, and this is my opportunity to become stronger and to master it, and I'm doing pretty good. It's happening. So once we get into this divine alignment, then it is maintaining that through mastery. And the only way that we can do this is by developing our spiritual practice even more. I spend, an hour and a half in meditation and just connection. What do you want me to know? And I don't even know the things that are happening. When I meditate, I'll tell you this. You could look back, and it's a ways back, but divine alignment and how it moves in my body. It is literally movement that goes through my body. So I would sit there, and I'll sometimes do this when I play the piano, and I'll sit there with my eyes closed. I will just sit there and wait. That is what I'm doing. Meditate time, sit there, wait. And I would wait until the divine would come and move into my body. And now I understand this more, because when this was very first happening, I was like, it's just fun and it's neat. But I understand it now, because vibration is creation. And so these movements that are happening, they're significant, and they are moving that energy that we are assembled with through our body, and it is reassembling things in a beautiful way. So if you were to meditate and you were to just sit there and you're like, okay, divine, I'm just going to sit here. I don't care if it takes 17 days. I'm just going to sit here, and I'm not going to move, and I'm not going to think, and I'm just going to put my mind back into this state of just waiting until you show up. And I believe that you are going to show up. The divine will show up for you. The divine will show up. You just sit there and you just wait. But we get so impatient, and we think, oh no, it's not happening fast enough, or whatever happens to be, and then you give up, and then it's not going to come. But the divine wants you to experience this, and it is your faith that is going to allow you to experience it. So when you put yourself into state and you sit there and you're like, okay, I'm just not going to move until the divine moves me. Pretty soon your body's going to start moving. Pretty soon some thoughts are going to start coming into your head. Pretty soon you're going to start to understand things on a deeper level that you did not understand before. And then once you gain this, once you've done this, The best thing that you can do is to continue to do it, to spiritually evolve. This is spiritual growth. You got to keep doing it. You need to set aside time for your spiritual practice, because if you don't, then you'll be forced to at some point, right? You know, people get sick and they end up in beds for weeks or months or years or whatever it is. That is the opportunity for thankfulness, because what it is doing is it is bringing to your awareness something that you haven't dealt with, some kind of past trauma. And when we don't know this and we sit there and we're unaware, we're compounding what is happening within us even more, because we're shaming our body. We're telling our body, how dare you do this to me? How dare you betray me like this? And we're putting more low frequency energy into our body, when instead we should be thankful. I know you love me, body. I know you love me, and I love you so much, and thank you for bringing the awareness to me that I need, because I need to be able to be healthy and whole and healed and nourished and provided for and protected and all of these wonderful things. And I know that you love me so much that you want to bring to my awareness something that I have been thinking that has been very harmful to me. Some type of low frequency thought, low frequency energy that has been allowed to come inside of my body through something that I have not healed from my past. And then when you take yourself in there, because you got all kinds of opportunity, because you're, perceivably sick, and you're laying there and you got all kinds of time, that is the time when you can go inward and you can ask yourself, why is this happening? And then sit there and wait and listen. And your mind will tell you, and you might think, oh, I'm just making this up. You're not. You're not making it up. If this thought came, you're right, it's that. If this one came too, you're right, it's that too. These things, they all need to be resolved, and they all need to be perceived differently. So when I was in Sedona, and I was sitting in a circle, as we do every night, and you guys will very soon be able to join us in this circle. It is extremely transformative. It's transformative. It is I can't even describe it. It's beyond. It's beyond anything that you could possibly perceive. It is beyond that. And this angel came in, and the angel with all the eyes. And so then I realized, that's what this angel is. It is the angel of perspective. It is, which eye do you need to look at to heal this? Which one is going to show you the divine alignment? Which one is going to put you back into that state of love that you have somehow fearfully fallen out of and believed, okay, well, no, this one is the exception to it. This one I am suffering. This one can't possibly be part of that. This one I am a victim to. It doesn't matter what it is that you are believing. You just need to look through a different eye of that angel so that you can gain the perspective of, oh, right, I forgot everything is a gift, because maybe you forgot that every single thing is the spirit. And so every single thing is here to help you, and it's here to help you evolve spiritually. And sometimes we need to be broken down so that we can evolve even more. I take another situation, and I think of all of the time that I wasted on this distraction. There was something that I wanted, and I wanted it so badly that I was willing to deplete my energy, in hopes of maybe I'll get this thing at some point. And I realized that distraction that I was allowing was so harmful to me and to my energy. It was depleting my energy. It was making me, not feel good. And as soon as I eliminated that distraction, bam, things changed for me. So even that thing that I could be like, oh, this thing was a bad thing, it was the best thing. It was the best distraction I could have ever had, because it taught me that's not what you want. You need to master. And it taught me, hey, this came into your life. There's something that you need to heal, because otherwise this wouldn't have come in. It taught me boundaries. It taught me so many beautiful things, and it made me so much stronger, and I'm so thankful for it. And now I no longer allow distractions like that, because I learned from it. So the past is here to just teach us. It's our teacher. It's here so that we can learn things. And we don't need to take these things and think that they're going to happen again and again and again and again and again. They will if you believe that they will. But once we learn the lesson from them, we don't need to believe in it anymore. We go, oh, thank you, I got the lesson. Okay, so what's coming is going to be even better. And then it is, every time. So thank you guys here for tuning in. This is what I have for you guys here today. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you guys very shortly. Have a great day. Thanks.